Radio Raheem here with Eddie Hearn, successful tonight.
Eddie Hearns?
Eddie Hearn.
Oh, right. Danny calls me Hearns.
Oh, do you prefer Hearns? Is that
I don't care. You can call me what you want. I've had a lot worse.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you didn't get booed tonight.
No.
That was amazing.
Do you know what? It's been quite nice. It's like, when I started in the UK, people would stop me in the street and go, Eddie, go on, son. You know, take it to them. And I've been getting people stopping me in New York going, Eddie Hearns, right?
Yeah.
Go do it. Yeah, go get the boxing world. I'm like, yeah, this feels fresh again. And then I'm going to go home tomorrow. I'll probably get off the plane and you'll just hear it like walking through customs. Boo. You know.
See, this might be your new home. You've already started to take over.
Yeah.
So, all right, obviously you're happy. You fighter won. That's the main thing. The kind of statement that he made. What kind of statement do you think he made? I just talked to him. I mean, he admitted that he was pressing for the knockout. Obviously, he was a little bit bigger than his opponent on fight night. Was it important to you that he get the knockout? And how do you rate his first showing?
I thought it was a solid 8, something like that. I mean, you know, it was a masterclass against a fighter who I think felt the power and sort of decided to go into survival mode, which is always difficult. Yeah, I think he was a bit over keen early on because he wanted to impress so much on the new network, and you know. But I think what he showed is Arias is a world-class middleweight, but Danny is an elite middleweight, and he won every round easily. And you know, I thought it was a good, solid performance against a fighter, or as a fighter who's been out of the ring for 8 months as well. You know, so yeah, pleased.
Obviously, there are 3 guys whose names are right at the top. It's got to be at the top of his so-called like hit list. You got Triple G, you got Canelo. Saunders is holding a belt. How does this fight put you in a position to get at one of those guys? Obviously, the Lemieux Saunders winner makes the most sense, probably the easiest to make. Is that a conversation you've already had with HBO, had with Golden Boy? Is this something that's in the works yet?
Yeah, I think. Excuse me. I've spoke to Peter Nelson about it. I think he spoke to Golden Boy about it as well. I'm kind of like, I'm building Danny Jacobs, and we've come along quite late in his career, or a lot later than you'd hope to as a promoter. So we're kind of doing our own thing, and if things fall into place, we'll fight anybody, but we won't kind of allow to be backtrack or sidetracked by not being able to do what we want to do. So, and what I mean by that is, if we can get the Canelo Golovkin fight, wonderful. If we can get the Lemieux Saunders fight, wonderful. If we could get Charlo, wonderful. Or if not, we want to fight another world-ranked middleweight and stay active and keep the brand and the momentum going. Do you know what I mean? There's too many fighters who aren't active enough, who don't have a plan, who don't have a schedule. They step out the ring and sort of 4 months later, they're still on holiday and they haven't really know what's going on. So we want to make sure next week we get the new date and then we see what happens in December.
You were able to bring big money to Triple G's pockets to fight Kell Brook, who wasn't a middleweight at all at the time. If you are able to intercede, you think there's a possibility that you could maybe disrupt this rematch between Canelo and Triple G?
No, I think, listen, for the good of boxing, I'd like to see that rematch. But I said to Tom Loeffler, if you don't make the rematch, Danny Jacobs is ready to go. So it's a nice fallback. Triple G wants to fight. He's an active fighter. So he won't want to be messed around. So if they do ever pull the plug, we'd be there. But I expect the rematch to happen. And, you know, I'm not looking to sort of call people up and say, don't do the rematch, we've got Danny Jacobs. But if it didn't happen, we'd love the fight.
I'd have to ask you, before the fight, we discussed that the morning after the press conference, you'd be sitting down with Al Heyman and Finkel. And now that's had to have happened. It's been a few days. Yep. You're going to be heading home soon. Has anything been resolved? Where's the ball now?
No, we had a good breakfast meeting I did with Shelley and Al. Everyone's on the same page. It's the biggest fight in world boxing. I talked with Anthony like a day before the meeting for the first time about the fight. Despite Deontay saying, we've been running for all this time, this is the first time the fight's ever been discussed. Anthony's in Dubai for 2 weeks. I'm going to run the numbers when I get home this week. We're going to look at venues, we're going to look at dates. We talked about the possibility of both fighting on the same card in March and then fighting in June or July, or going straight into the fight, or both boxing at different sites on the same night. So lots of different variances, but ultimately everybody knowing that we have to make the fight at some point. But it's going to be difficult on the financials and the split, etc., etc. And you know, we'll all try and see if we can get it over the line.
And lastly, you made a spectacle of asking people on the streets whether or not they knew Deontay Wilder, and for those purposes, they didn't.
No.
I mean, we all saw the video.
Yeah, it was only a bit of fun. I mean, I couldn't believe how many people to watch this video. Like, Americans were coming up to me at Times Square after the press conference going, I saw your video about that guy, you know, Dion, or whatever his name was. But it was only a bit of fun. I really like Deontay Wilder. Do you know what I mean? I think he's a great fighter. I think he's a great guy. Look, you know, it's just, I'd do things differently. As I said before, if I was Deontay Wilder's promoter, you wouldn't be able to walk down the street in America, let alone New York, without people not knowing you are. You are the world heavyweight champion.
So with that said, do you need to build Joshua here?
Yeah, I think we need to build both of them here, really, but maybe we won't have time. You know, that fight has got potential to be so much bigger, but the fans don't really care. Do you know what I mean? They just want it now. So we have to weigh things up and we have to give people what they want. Yeah, Anthony Joshua's a Brit who boxes in England. He needs to be much bigger in America, and you know, he will be over time. Deontay Wilder is an American who boxes in America. He's got a lot of work to do. Probably more people know him in England than they do in America, you know? So both can be a lot bigger. But one guy's earning X and one guy's earning X. So it's going to be difficult. But we want the fight. I've just gained consciousness from Deontay Wilder saying the fight should be a 50-50 split. I'm guessing he's just having a joke with that. So, you know, we'll see.
You consider that ridiculous?
Raheem, that's like, it's left me speechless. But listen, we've all got to start somewhere, haven't we? So let's keep it nice. We had a very nice meeting. Two lovely people in Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman. And we all want to make the fight. So let's see what we can do.
Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn or Hearns, depending on your preference.
Or as they call me in England, wanker.
Always a pleasure, man.
Cheers, mate.
Glad to host you.
Thank you.
And can't wait to be on your pond soon.
Yeah.
Hey, Bellew, I'll be there.
Hey.
Bellew, hey.
Yeah.
Maybe those guys figure in the mix. That fight just, you know, I mean, they're small heavyweights, but they're heavyweights.
Well, Tony won't figure in that mix. He's not interested in fighting Joshua or Wilder. He's a big cruiserweight who's a small heavyweight. Hey, though, on the other hand, he would love a shot at those guys. So big fight on December 17th.
We'll see you there. Thank you. Radio Raheem with Eddie Hearn.